Hi, Sarah. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm glad to have you here today. I am here to learn way more about your business, and I feel like I already know some, but I would love for you to drop in and talk to me about who you serve and what you do and why you're passionate about it.
Right. So, business side, I'm actually a process improvement consultant. I work with a lot of organizations to make things easier, to really work from the bottom up to make change and create more efficiency within the organization as a whole. So really transforming that organization from chaos, like being just incredibly chaotic, and really condensing it down to the most simplest way of getting from point A to point B. So I do that on the business side. And then what I'd like to talk a lot about today is I actually started a podcast with a fellow female hockey coach called Two Women Who Give a Puck. And so it's all about highlighting the experiences of females in hockey, so ice hockey. We're in Minnesota, which is the state of hockey, so there's a lot of hockey going on, and folks around here are very proud of their hockey. But it doesn't always feel like the most inviting environment for females who are coaching and for females who are playing. And so I lived that experience being a female college hockey player, female, youth player in the state of Minnesota, and am now coaching my daughter. And so seeing a lot of greatness, but then also feeling a lot of struggles and anxieties and uncertainties within myself as a female hockey coach, and then connecting with more female coaches and realizing that they are also feeling a lot of those same pieces. And seeing my daughter playing, she's 10 now. I'm seeing that some of the messages that I was receiving as a female hockey player are still pretty prevalent, 20 some years later.
Really? It hasn't changed very much.
Not enough for those little girls to not still be feeling those feelings of I'm not good enough or I'm not a real athlete, and not absorbing all of those messages that I absorbed and then, kind of unpacked and have been dealing with in, my 30s and 40s. So wanting to not just kind of sit back and say, like, this is the environment, but wanting to create more awareness and create more opportunities for people to see what's going on and create changes so that our future generation of female athletes have a different space to be a part of.
So it's clear you are really passionate about hockey. And then it's also clear that the messaging and how things are, how people coach and how they are coached, how girls are coached specifically, were both of those, I imagine both of those were an inspiration for you to become a coach yourself?
Yeah. So I mean, yes, like I said, I love the sport of hockey. I started a little later in life. I was around 12 years old when I started. I had played different sports. I was always a pretty active kid, within the neighborhood, and then playing various sports. And the second I got on the ice and played the game of hockey, it was just love at first sight. There is something about that sport that just makes you feel so powerful, so graceful, just so strong. And so wanting as many people to have that experience as possible, both females and males, but especially on the female side, because a lot of times we're not given those spaces as often to help us feel, really strong in that very physical sense. And so I always knew that I wanted to coach, especially if I had a daughter, knowing that there aren't very many female hockey players out there. And actually, I didn't really have any female coaches growing up. There was one coach when I played in college who was the female, but she was more of a locker room coach. So not having that leadership. So I wanted to be that example for those girls of we can be leaders and we can be in this space.
So you being a coach, I'm guessing, do you find that inspires other women to also be coaches, or do you feel like the fear overrides that because of the culture and the environment?
There's a little of both. So I've definitely, within my association, been able to inspire more females to coach. Anytime I find out, oh, you played hockey, come come in and coach. Like, we need more women in that space. And I've been able to get a lot of females into that coaching space. However, there's still a fair number who played and, are very athletic and very capable, who no matter how many times I ask, they say no. And you can understand some of the reasonings. Like, part of it is, as moms, we're incredibly busy. And so it can be hard if we have multiple children to dedicate, that time to be on the ice for that one child, when maybe we have to worry about, okay, where's the other child and where's the care for that other child? So I understand that. But then I think there's a big fear around if they have boys and they're coaching the boys, and on that boys' side, that some of them have actually heard from their sons that they don't want them coaching.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Have said, Mom, I don't want you coaching. I want. They're used to those male coaches, which is sad. And I think that kind of just proves, to me, it proves the reason why we need more females out there, because so many kids, they're very perceptive of, what's going on in the world. And so they're seeing this space as a space that, their mom kind of doesn't belong in, which is very unfortunate and unnecessary, because there's so many great skills that can be brought from everyone, and especially from females, that have to do with youth sports, that have nothing to do with the X's and O's of the sport. Like, there's so many life lessons that I think just typically females are a bit more aware of, that those things happening, within a team, like accountability, being a good teammate, overcoming challenges. Like, ice hockey is really, really hard. There's a lot of tears on the ice, especially the first years, because you have to learn how to skate. Most sports, you already know how to run, so you can go out there and you can start day one feeling confident or somewhat competent. But hockey, you have that extra added challenge. And so having that more feminine side of helping those kids through those challenges. And not saying the men don't have that feminine side, but I think with our society, sometimes there's that fear of them showing that, because then that's seen as weak. Whereas it's really a big strength on both sides, especially within the youth sports world. So creating more acceptance for that that feminine voice in a very masculine sport is that big mission, and helping other females feel comfortable and confident being in those spaces as well, and knowing that they are providing value, even if it looks different than what the traditional way to provide value looks like.
So if there's a woman listening to this that's maybe thinking, gosh, that might be fun, I might want to do that. A two-part question. Do you have words of inspiration about it to maybe give them just a little nudge of support that they might need to say yes and give it a go? And then second part question, because I would ask this question if I was on the fence about it, is there support and guidance and coaching for the coaches that come in?
Yeah, so words of inspiration would be, play to your strengths. Even if you played a different sport, find how are you good at that sport? Most likely you can translate that to an aspect of hockey, and you can live in your strength and help the kids develop in your space. So there's that. If you didn't play hockey, again, there's so many different ways that you can be a valuable coach without knowing the X's and O's, or what a right wing does versus a defender. There's just so many life skills that kids learn that you can jump in and help them out. Helping a kid get over challenges is the biggest thing. If you see, can you see someone crying on the ice and go over and help them, move through the process of my feet hurt, or I fell again and I'm really sad, and help them, understand, well, falling's part of the game. And so it's okay that you fell. It's not like you failed. And then as far as hockey goes, there's so many female communities. Like in Minnesota, we have a smaller local community. USA Hockey has a community of female coaches that you can join and get inspiration from and ask any sort of question. Like no question is a dumb question. And then USA Hockey actually requires you to go through coaching programs. So every single coach, even if they played in the NHL, they have to go through these coaching programs to learn how to develop kids at age-appropriate times, and then to learn somewhat, hockey-specific skills that you would want to incorporate into your practices. And then also, if you are an assistant coach, in any sport, you have a little less responsibility. So maybe starting out as an assistant coach, and females are so good at learning. Like we always want to typically, stereotypically be kind of continuously learning and observing. And so you have that opportunity to, observe and change and improve every single year. Every single year I've learned and improved as a coach. So you don't have to know how to do it 100% initially. You can jump in and learn and grow and develop. And there are communities, local Minnesota communities and USA Hockey communities that help support female coaches grow and develop.
Is your podcast directed at that sort of thing as well, creating community and connecting people and educating people on what this might look like and what might be beneficial to all of these layers of bringing more winning coaches into the arena?
Yep. Yeah. So the podcast is very much about individuals sharing experiences, their own personal experiences. And then our goal for every single podcast is to have tangible takeaways on how you can bring that back to, your world, your kids' association, your hockey team, whatever it is, but how you can bring the lessons learned from the podcast back into your space to make changes. We're also looking into, just getting more females, older females even, involved in playing hockey. So my co-host and I coach a low-level women's hockey team. So it's women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, I think, even, who just started playing hockey. And so you can start at any age. And so that's part of, we're bringing, just mom-specific learn to play to our association. So creating that safe space where it's all females, where you feel like you have the opportunity to kind of fail and you don't feel as much pressure. So a safer space to learn. And then also having female or like mom-only hockey 101s. So come learn about the game, because so many moms didn't have the opportunity to play hockey. Like it wasn't there for them. So they struggle with knowing the game. So we have kind of some one-on-ones that help to go through, starting with, how do you put the equipment on? Like, it's not slower than beginning. It's not like baseball where it's like you put cleats on and you have a glove. And it's like, oh, okay, there's 8-10 different pieces of equipment. And so it's like, well, what do I put on first? And what do I put on last? And you don't think of those things when you've been playing. But I had a lot of moms when their kids started playing and they had never played. They're like, what do I even need? And how do I put it on? Like, this is confusing. It's a lot. It can be intimidating. So just going over kind of some of those basics and then having kind of higher level ideas, because the more that they can participate in, their child's hockey experience, the more that their child, whether it's male or female, can then start to see them and see women as, valuable assets to the sport.
So what's one belief or lesson that you wish more people would know?
So I wish more people would pause and be aware of the environment and what their words and actions, like the impact that their words and actions have on individuals, especially that female athlete. So growing up, there's so often that I was told, you're not even playing real hockey because you can't check. Or it doesn't matter if you're good at hockey because you take the best male athlete and the best female athlete, and the male is going to win all the time. And just constantly being told, like, oh, just because you're female, you're not good enough to be a good hockey player. And this was, it's not like male hockey players don't get told that they're not good enough, but they have the benefit of actually being on the ice and playing before they get told, like, oh, you're not good enough. Whereas I could walk into the room with no skates on, just, normal tennis shoes, and would get told, like, oh, well, you're not a good hockey player, just because I was a female, without actually having to go out or being out on the ice. Just this assumption, like, oh, you're a female, so you're not a good hockey player or a good athlete. And I wish there was more awareness around within our society of how much of an impact that has on our girls. Like 8-year-old girls are feeling that, like, and absorbing that message of, like, just because I'm a female, I'm not good enough.
It's a beautiful message.
Yeah.
Thanks for spending time with me today.
Yes.
Hey, it's Will with the Podcast Crew team. Spotlight is a vidcast shot at the Podcast Crew Studios in Minneapolis. We would love for you to be our guest. Email us at the email address on your screen below to get a copy of the upcoming schedule. It's free, it's easy, and it's a great way to try out a podcast or a vidcast with our pro team. We do an in-person, in-studio version if you're in the Twin Cities area, and also an online version if you're somewhere else. We'd love to have you, hear your story, and help you start your podcast journey. Thanks. Get in touch today.